Welcome to the Group 5 podcast. This will be our second podcast. Our topic today is chronic pain. I'm Grayson.
I'm Gary.
And I'm Sonia.
All right, so who here experiences chronic pain or has experiences with it?
Yeah, I think all of us.
Yeah, all of us to some degree probably have some sort of...
First-hand or second-hand
Yeah.
experience.
I don't personally experience, but I do have I know some people who experience it. Actually, I think I have two family members. I was forgetting about my aunt. She also my father experiences it and my aunt.
Yeah. I've probably got some stuff coming up when I get a little bit older from breaking my arm and messing up my wrists and stuff that I don't feel right now, but I'm sure they'll crop up eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a bit of chronic pain that I deal with, and then I have a lot of back pain, and yeah.
How long have you been experiencing that?
Since I started working over 10 years ago.
Do you know what caused it, or is it one of those kinds of underlying issues that...
It's just an underlying issue.
I think that's how my aunt is. I don't know when hers started, but she's had it for years now. I don't know if she's had it for my whole life, but when I started hearing about it was a few years ago, and she just her knuckles hurt, her joints hurt, and she just, and it might be her diet because she doesn't have the best diet. We don't really know exactly what the cause is. There's no she didn't hurt herself.
She doesn't have a diagnosis or anything?
No, I don't, not that I know of. She might,
Okay.
but I don't personally know. But it's not like she got hit by a car or anything.
Oh,
it was just
okay.
she just has this pain for whatever reason.
Wear and
Okay.
tear sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
that kind of thing. And my dad experiences it too, in part from his job. He was a firefighter, and so a lot of work, and in part from before that he worked construction. He lifted things without bending at the knees and stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
So he has really bad back pain his whole life. He's been and he recently he's been getting better with doing workouts and stuff, but it's just
the physical therapy.
yeah, that helps. It
Supposed
helps so
to.
much. He's been in a better mood, and it's.
Good.
Do you do that kind of stuff?
I hate physical therapy.
I don't think anyone likes it, but
It was making my pain worse for quite
really?
a while.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I was
weird.
it was a lot of constant pain, so I stopped doing the physical therapy, and now I have pain kind of on and off, but it's not waking up, going to bed every minute of every day.
that's good.
pain.
That it's not as bad. And is that because of physical therapy? So you just stopped doing that? And then-
Yeah, I stopped doing the physical therapy, and I felt better, which
That's crazy.
I don't know what that means in the long term, but we'll see.
It means the physical
Yeah,
therapy was
interesting.
not working.
Right? That's what I think.
That's nuts. Because my dad does it, and it's if he doesn't do it, that's the days that are worse for him. If he does it, he feels really good, and it's
Yeah,
so it's the exact opposite for him.
Yeah, literal opposite. I also thought it was interesting the food that you brought up. The food, I've noticed that an anti-inflammation diet really helps, which
Yeah.
I was not expecting that to help. They're like, you just gotta eat kale, and I'm like, really? But it actually really does help. So
That's interesting that certain foods would. Is there any other foods that you have that same experience with, or is it just kind of
it's so carbs and sugar are bad. I ate
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
I ate bad this weekend, and so this morning I woke up and I was like, oh, I just don't feel good today. But
It's weird, yeah. It's so weird how diet affects that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting, but
I guess it's also interesting, the different treatments. You kind of stopped physical therapy where it helps his dad more.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
guess it just
super
shows
weird.
the different
yeah.
ways that they have to go at treating it and stuff. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody's different, so every treatment is different. And a friend of mine has some pain, and she got me to try CBD oil, a topical, and I was like, oh, this is stupid. This isn't gonna work. And then it was 10 minutes later, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. It felt so much better, and
Yeah.
it just was kind of mind-blowing.
It's crazy how that kind of stuff, it helps so much, and it's weird the stigma behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's weed, but it's
really not.
it's one of the
but-
most helpful even in terms of actual marijuana. In a lot of ways that can help people with PTSD. We're
Yeah.
not going into that right now. That's not the current topic, but
Yeah.
when we do get to that, that's one of those things that
Yeah.
with actually just smoking weed can be really helpful, and people, there's such a stigma to it though.
Yeah, but there's a lot of conditions that seem to be really helped with that, and that is one of the reasons that medical marijuana is prescribed as pain. I think that's
That makes sense,
the
yeah.
most common one.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's safer than the opioids. You know, we have
Oh, for sure.
that
You don't get addicted to
epidemic
marijuana.
right
Yeah.
now.
You can't get addicted
Yeah.
to marijuana. That's like, I think,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's not. I don't know a ton about it, but I don't think you can overdose on it, can you?
You would have to. So, don't
We're not
quote me on
doctors.
this.
No, I'm
Exactly.
not either, of course. But
I am not your medical professional. Don't quote me on this, but I believe you would have to smoke a ridiculous amount of weed, and you would die of carbon monoxide poisoning before you would die of like a
Interesting.
weed overdose. However, that doesn't take into account the dabs that people do.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I don't know what those are called.
And there's
exactly,
also
but-
like unrelatted deaths where you smoke something and then
and
you,
then
you
go
can
fall off a cliff.
yeah, or something else
Yeah.
like that, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
So directly attributed to like marijuana toxicity, I think is rare or borderline impossible.
which is so weird because that's like when you think about contrasting that to opioids, they're super dangerous.
Yeah.
And
no,
here's opioids, you're in pain, let's take this super dangerous drug instead of, you know,
all the natural
Yeah,
things
it's so
that you
weird.
could do. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
I mean,
And I'm
there's
not- I'm not,
definitely
like,
a
sitting
place.
here-
Yeah, there's definitely a place for opioids. Like, there's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of people whose quality of life is only better when they take them. But in one of my pain management classes, they were talking about if you are prescribed opioids and you refill your prescription late, and so you didn't take it for a day, you get your prescription and you take your normal dose a day later, you've given your body enough time that you can overdose
Really?
on your normal dose.
That's so weird.
And it's incredibly dangerous.
It is so weird, like that's how they choose to deal with chronic
Mm-hmm.
pain and stuff like that. That's how they go about it. Is
Or have been.
yeah, have been. That's true because I think it's
Now
starting to
it's-
shift.
yeah.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of push from the people who made oxycodone. When it first came out, it was nothing new. But the people who made it were like, no, hold on. This will last 12 hours. So this is an awesome thing that you guys all have to do. And people are finding it wasn't lasting 12 hours.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they were lasting 8 hours, and then they're in pain, and they can't have their next dose. So they have 4
Until
hours
4
of
more
pain.
hours, yeah.
And then they take their next dose, and then so that created this cycle where it was like the pain pleasure cycle,
And that gets you
that's
addicted,
what
yeah.
people got addicted
Oh,
to.
that's so weird. I didn't even know that.
It
That's
was
crazy.
yeah, it can be traced back to that, and that's how the opioid crisis that we're dealing with right now started.
That is so crazy.
It's really sad to hear. Like, it's
And
really messed up. But
When you've used CBD, how long does that last? Like the effects of that, the positive effects.
it usually lasts me through the rest of my, like, usually I use it at night, and it lasts me till I go to bed. You know, I come home from work and have some, and
Is it
then,
like 5 hours maybe, or what would you say? 3 hours?
yeah, maybe like 3 hours,
Okay.
and I'll be fine. If I use it in the middle of the day, it's kind of like hit or miss on, because I also will take an ibuprofen with it. If
I assume
need
it's
to.
less strong than like opioids and stuff. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, and it's topical, so you're not ingesting it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Can you ingest it for pain? Is that something you can do?
Yeah.
And
I
have you done
haven't-
that?
No, I haven't
Okay.
tried that.
And is there a reason that you haven't, or just
It works well enough topical
that
that,
makes
yeah,
sense.
I haven't. I thought it was fine so far, so
makes sense?
yeah.
Do you guys know anyone, or physically, like yourself, have experiences with chronic pain caused by something like, oh, I hurt myself and now I have this pain?
Maybe not me just yet, but like I know my dad actually had to like retire early recently just because like he's been doing construction for like 20, almost 30 years now.
Mhm.
So like his hands and his knees and his joints are just kind of just worn out.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
I guess faster than like would
Yeah.
normally happen to people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Usually using them
instead
a lot
of
more.
just being in pain like half the time on the job, like he doesn't do like opioids or any of that kind of stuff. He's just
Mm-hmm.
toughs
through it.
That's good.
He just decided now is the time to kind of retire. So
Yeah, it's kind of the same.
You hit a wall
Yeah.
eventually, dealing with pain enough, and you're just done. And that's like we saw in Pam's interview. I don't want to say she was combative, but some of the questions she got a little defensive because she was just very done dealing
Yeah,
with
it's a lot to
being
deal with.
in
I mean-
pain and dealing with it and dealing with people not listening to her as well.
So I'm interviewing Pam Friedman, my mother. about chronic pain and fatigue. You got a work injury when you were working at an old folks' home. You slipped on a pine cone
Or
or rock and broke your ankle, but they refused to say that it was broken.
right.
You couldn't find a doctor to confirm your story until after the case was already closed.
I found a podiatrist who said, yes, your ankle definitely needs more work, but workman's comp said that there's no objectable proof.
Definite proof. Do you have a story, positive or negative, that happened since 2013, since you've hurt your ankle, that you wish to share?
I don't know, invisible pain is hard. I mean, it makes you feel like you're alone.
Do you think it's contributed to your other invisible disabilities?
Yes,
Anxiety and depression?
absolutely.
Do you think that for you the worst of it is over, or do you think that the worst is yet to come?
Worst is yet to come. Because,
Probably.
because every year it gets worse and worse, and it doesn't subside as quickly.
Do they have like an ankle replacement surgery that you can do?
Not really at this time. They're working on it, but
Are you hopeful that at some point
I'm hopeful, yeah. But there's a life,
expectancy? Sure.
right?
Same with the knee.
Yeah.
10 years, right?
But the problem with ankles is it's a one-time thing. You can't do the replacement and then do another one.
Right. What do you do after that ankle fails?
Pretty much can't walk.
So you're wheelchair bound.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you would like to communicate to your family, friends, colleagues? I know that you have a lot to say to your parents. Do you have anything that you wish you could convey to them that they just don't quite understand?
Not really at this point. They don't believe.
And not a lot of people do. So
Right.
this is not specific to them. So
Yeah.
not
I mean,
to say what they're doing is right, but
yeah. I wish that it could be something that doctors would recognize and be able to treat better.
All right, so one thing that I found really interesting about the interview is what you were saying about her being kind of defensive and being tired. It's one of those things that, like, when I'm talking to you, I don't notice that are you, like, right now, do you experience pain at this moment?
Right now I'm probably at like a 2.
Yeah.
I go through most of my days at like 3 to 4.
Yeah, and I don't
2 to
notice that
4.
at all. And so that's what you were saying, like, people not necessarily believing you or understanding, like,
Yeah.
I can't see it. I believe you, obviously. I don't think you think you're
Yeah.
lying, but it's one of those things that if you don't understand it, it's like, you're not in pain. Look, you're normal, but
Yeah,
You're
because
functioning.
I'm
Yeah.
sitting here talking to you and
Yeah.
my voice isn't strained. And
because you're used to it,
I think that's one thing. That's a really good point. Like, people kind of just have to live with it.
Mhm.
So, sometimes it gets really bad and it's very obvious, but
Oh, yeah.
day to day, like, people will be like, well, you're sitting in my office talking to me. I'm not going to prescribe you pain pills because you look fine. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, but I'm having, this, like, day to day, every day, and, like, being able to go and complete an activity. Sometimes it's weighing, like, is the pain going to be worth it? Taking my daughter to the zoo.
That makes sense.
Totally worth it, because it's such a good experience to go with her and have a really good time. And I know, like, that night I'm just going to be in so much pain, but
But you'll have a good memory from it, you'll have
yeah. But, like, coming to school and sitting and being uncomfortable, and then it was like, well, I already knew what that class was talking about,
Yeah.
but now I'm kind of mad that I'm so uncomfortable over it.
Yeah, I get that.
And so sometimes it can be a little frustrating, but
And
Yeah.
even at times, like, just trying to focus on what's, like, being taught for, like, when you don't know what's going on. Like, That's
yeah.
an extra distraction.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it does. Yeah, it
Uh-huh.
makes it kind of where you're like, I just can't pay attention right now.
Yeah. I think the fact that pain is subjective too, it's something that I can't feel your pain. There's no way I will ever, at least not with our current technology, I'll never feel your pain.
Yeah.
I will never feel what you feel right now. And so you can't, the doctor just has to go, oh, like, here's what I think you need based on what you, because, like,
Describe.
I might say that your pain is a 10. I don't know what you might be experiencing so much pain, but you're used to it. Or maybe I would go, oh, that doesn't hurt at all. It's like, I can't eat spicy food, so any amount of spice, I'm like, that is really spicy. My parents are like, no, I don't even notice it. And so it's like that kind of thing where,
Conditioning to it.
yeah,
almost.
conditioning too. So your pain would most likely, for me, if you're saying it's a 2, would probably be like a 4 or a 5, because you're probably used to it, like,
Yeah.
having experienced it for so long. Like,
I think, like, having given birth, I think that was a really good, like, half of the population is potentially going to at
Yeah.
one point. So that kind of makes it easier to compare.
That gives
because
you
if
that
that's-
gives you a 10, I assume,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, that was 10.
Gives you
So
11.
That was 10. I was,
yeah,
it was, it got a little crazy there. So, but then also I can say, well, if that was a 10, yeah, I'm probably at a 3 right now, not a 5.
yeah.
You know?
And so
like
for
it-
me, I can't think of a 10. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have a 10 that you could say, oh, that was my 10 pain? That was it.
Not really, because weirdly, like when I broke my arm, I didn't really.
You had shock.
Yeah, it was shock, and like
Yeah.
every time I've done something like that kind of traumatic, it's just been shock. Like I
Yeah.
don't feel it
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
until like like when I messed up my wrist, like I was holding on to it, like just because the automatic thing was like grab it and hold on, put pressure.
Yeah.
Like when I let go of it a bit, yeah, I felt some pain, but it was like it didn't hurt, I guess, as much as it maybe should have.
Yeah.
or
Well,
would
maybe
have.
you have a high pain threshold too. Maybe a 4 to me would be a 1 to you. You know, like that's some people just do like
Even without
pain's
conditioning, they're just
Yeah, some people just have a higher threshold to begin with. So
yeah. Because I can't think of a time where I was like, oh, that was. I mean, obviously, I can think of times where I was hurt, but like to say that was the one, like I don't even know. Like I'm sure I could, but like off the spot, I can't. And that's where I think like you were saying, giving birth gives you an easy to remember like 10.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and it makes that scale a lot more manageable.
So I think that that's a really interesting concept, and I mean we'll talk more about PTSD in our later
Yeah.
episode, like you said. But I think that also everyone has like the point in their life where that was the worst thing you've ever experienced.
Yeah.
That was it. You like nothing else can compare.
Yeah,
And for everyone, that's different.
for sure. Yeah.
You know, like my worst day might be
My
your
best day.
normal Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, exactly. So
That was my favorite.
yeah. So I mean, it's the same thing. It's really a lot of these things are really hard to compare because they're just, they're so personal that.
Yeah.
And then how everybody deals with it too is very personal, like we were talking about. Some people are they just can't handle it.
Yeah.
It has days where it frustrates me and I get really angry, but it also has days where, I would love to be a neuroscientist. That would be awesome if I could find ways to deal with this, but
It's interesting, even just like seeing how each kind of chronic thing gets defined. Like they still leave room to be able to adjust like how and how
Yeah.
severe some pain is versus others, and what's maybe causing it versus adding to it and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, there's a different pain scale for people with chronic pain, which I think, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm kind of torn. Like on one side, I'm like, okay, yeah, because if you're always walking around at a 5, then a 7's going to not be a big deal for you. But at the same time, if a 10 is I'm in the emergency room and cannot focus on anything else, I don't think that any other scale needs to exist because a 10 is like the top, no
Yeah.
matter what, So it's kind of
The thing is, you can experience more pain still. Like, for example, I haven't experienced either of these things. I don't know which hurts worse, but I'm saying I would say a 10 would also be, like you're saying, giving birth would also be having your leg shot off in war, which is worse though. And I don't even know.
I don't either, and
And so
I'm
it's-
going to say both of them are you're in the hospital and you need help.
So you're saying
Like,
that no matter what the amount is, that's all a 10 at a certain point?
I
Or-
think
Okay.
I think that at a certain point so the best scale that I found is how well you're able to focus on other things besides the pain.
Okay.
I think that's the best that you're going to get on just a simple number scale. And I think that really is it.
So-
if you are unable to focus on anything besides, I think I'm going to die right now if somebody does not help me.
Yeah.
Either I'm going to die or I'm going to shoot myself. I think that's the best way to really go about it, because I think that kind of gives everyone a level playing field, no
Yeah,
matter
'cause
what
then-
your experiences
Yeah.
That
are.
makes sense. 'Cause that's less about me comparing my pain to your pain and more about me
Exactly.
comparing my pain to how I can handle it.
Yeah,
That's interesting, yeah.
That's exactly. I think
That makes
that's
sense.
really
'Cause that keeps it personal, but
Mhm.
makes it understandable.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
good.
All right, thank you for watching our second podcast. We'll see you back with the third one, which is PTSD, right? Is that the third one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll see you back with that one. Thank you.
All right.